happy Monday. Hopefully, everyone had an awesome weekend. Mine was pretty lazy, although I did build one more half arch, mostly built. I still got to put the fifth layer on, which is alright. So I'm averaging about two or at least one arch per week, which means if I want to do this for like nine, that's going to be another, I don't know, 8 weeks. This really comes down to motivation and glue drying. But that being said, I think Round Rock ISD did something good here. Not something I would admit often, but this kind of goes with AOC, where a lot of these larger companies get a tax credit or tax break. I understand that states and cities and such want to entice larger companies because the theory is the larger the company is, the larger the bankroll is going to be, and more employees are going to be hired through them, which means more taxes are collected through income taxes or through payroll taxes and whatnot. And not to mention that the employees that they bring will be able to buy things, so you have a higher sales tax return. So I do understand the concept of it, but at a certain point, at what time to a company becomes too big for the benefit to outweigh it? I understand that the company's job is to reduce some liabilities, reduce some risks by asking for tax credits. But this is something that a practice that really needs to stop because it's only hurting you and I, the mom and pop shops, the small business owners that don't really get a bailout or a handout when they most need it. So we and the other issue is when we start actually reducing mom and pop shops, we're actually reducing employment numbers because if you add the mom and pop shops all together throughout the United States, they're the number one employer of the United States. Yes, I know you could argue Walmart and Amazon and all that good stuff, but they're only a small percentage when you combine all the mom and pop shops together. Let's go ahead and get with this story from the Community Impact newspaper. I did kind of glance through this, and it's kind of well written. It's not too heavily into one side or the other. But Round Rock ISD declines applications for agreement on potential 9 million Topan photo mask project. Round Rock board trustees declined a Chapter 313 application from Topan photo mask manufacturers of components used in semiconductors during its May 19th meeting. A total of 9 million in economic investments were proposed by the company. The trustees voted 3 to 3 to accept the application, meaning that the motion failed. Place 4 trustee Corey Vasa recused herself from the vote due to conflict of interest, and the no's votes came from phase 1, 2, and 7 trustees. Owen Axel, Mary Bone, and Danielle Weston. Trustees did not indicate why they voted the motion down. It's unclear whether the application may be brought before the board again, according to the district staff. Place 3 trustee on the board, President Amber Feller, spoke in support of increasing domestic manufacturing ahead of the vote. Representing the company, Sarah Loon and Michelle Alcala of Leon Alcala PLLC told the board that the Topin photo mask sought a total of limitation of 100 million for management and operation, the 773 million of interest in thinking for the set period of time that would bring 250 manufacturing jobs to the area. See, this is what I'm talking about. While they may have been high paying jobs, this is really a bucket in the whole scheme of things. If not Round Rock, Leon said the company would seek another location outside of Texas. Under the 313 taxable value limitation application, the district would have been reimbursed for any avenues lost under these amendments over time. An investment of this size will go towards reducing the district recaptured excess local tax revenue paid back to the state, but it's unclear how much. Chapter 313 applications were not renewed as part of the state code during the last legislative session and will be phased out December 2022. What are chapter? We're going to do this live because I'm not 100% sure what this is. Let's see here. Comptroller. That should be Tax Code Chapter 313, Value Limitation and Tax Credit, Texas Economic Development Act, an appraisal value limited to agreement which taxpayer agreed to build or install property and create jobs in exchange for a 10-year limitation on taxable property value for school district maintenance and operational tax M&O purposes. The minimum limitation value varies by school district. The application for limitation of the appraisal value for M&O purposes is submitted directly to the school district and is required an application fee that is established by each school district. Tax credit applicable only to applications determined to be completed prior to January 1st of the 1st, 2014. To qualify for tax credit, a separate application must be submitted to the school district after property tax for the last completed year. For the qualifying time period are paid, the credit for the M&O taxes paid in excess of limitation amount in each complete year of qualifying time period. The school district tax collector must credit in overall equal parts over the last 7 years of the agreement, but the credit in each year may not exceed 50% of the total taxes paid on the qualified property during that year. An eligible amount is not credited during a 7-year period or to be credited over the following 3 years, but the amount credited in each may not exceed the total taxes paid on the qualified property of that year. Totally. This information should not be constructed as or substitute for legal advice. Property owners and school districts are urged to consult the Attorney General Economic Development Handbook and their own legal counsel for any questions or interpretation of the economic development laws. So pretty much they were asking for a tax credit or a pretty much free money to offset some of their costs, which I understand on principle why companies would want to do that. But this is where I kind of agree with AOC. Once you reach a certain amount, you don't really need tax breaks or tax credits because you're making money over hand over fist, which means you don't really need it. There's no real benefit of you getting tax credits if you're an Amazon or an IBM or an Intel or a Sony or a Samsung, because you got so much money in the bank. It doesn't really matter because it will cost you more in time and money to file this than it would just to build and pay what you're owed. Now, I do understand that the concept is to entice companies into your city, into your county, into your state by offering such tax breaks or tax credits. But however, what about the mom and pop shop? What about the tool and die shop that has to close because they can't afford the property tax or they can't afford the rent because property tax is so expensive in their area? Don't they get a handout? Don't they get a tax break? At what size of company do you have to become before you could be eligible for these tax credits, how many jobs do one company has to produce in order to make that? Like I said, that it said it was 250 jobs. Between 10 to 15 uh, small mom and pop shops, that could be 300 jobs right there. Or even 20 companies could do about 2 to 300 jobs combined. And that's like one company hire one or two people, or three or four people here and there can bring up the total. And you add that between 20 companies or 100 companies, it scales a lot higher than this one company. I don't know. I just don't think it's fair for bigger companies to get a freebie while the mom and pop shop has to go out of business because they can't afford property taxes, while a larger company that could afford property taxes get a tax credit or a tax break. I could just ramble on in a circular argument. I just don't agree with it. And this is where I agree with AOC on. Very few times I would agree with AOC. But leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are in the whole situation of giving major companies tax breaks or tax credits. Do you agree with AOC and myself on this stance? Or do you disagree that we should be able to entice companies because they bring more value than they take away? Let me know in the comments down below. Smash the like and subscribe button in any and all platforms, or just a platform that you're currently on. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening. Let's have an awesome week.